My name is Jackie Binsfeld, and I am the marketing manager for Company Nurse powered by Lintelio. With me today is Murphy Jensen, founder and executive VP of WEconnect Health Management and French Open champion. In honor of National Recovery Month, Murphy is sharing his story and the story behind WEconnect, the app that can support folks who want to improve their relationship with substances and make positive lifestyle changes that stick. So let's get started. Murphy, can you please share both your story and the story of WEconnect?
Well, do you have enough time? Murphy Jensen at 53, almost 54 years old, has lived some life. I was born on a Christmas tree farm in northern Michigan. Some say I was raised by wolves, but they were mom and dad. Amazing mom and dad, and I have twin sisters that are younger and an older brother. And my story starts there. And our dad played professional football for the New York Giants, and he wanted his two boys to be football players, so he built a tennis court in our backyard in northern Michigan on the shores of those sand dunes. And tennis took us places. And it showed us all as a family a better life. First it was traveling around the Midwest, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois. And then it took us nationally, San Diego, Phoenix, Tucson, Miami, New York, and then eventually as a young teenager around the world. And my brother and I became my brother was the #1 junior tennis player at the age of 18 in the world in singles and doubles on the cover of Tennis Magazine. And he ended up going to the University of Southern California for 2 years before turning professional. And I followed in his footsteps in every way, on the tennis court and off the tennis court, and ended up at the University of Southern California for 2 years before turning professional. I was seeing all my friends. My peers were Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, Jim Courier, Michael Chang. All my peers from junior tennis were becoming millionaires, and I was sitting in college struggling with a math class or a dangling participle in English. So, tennis, in my first life, I was a professional tennis player. And yes, a French Open champion. This little trophy here represents that. And that's that story. And, winning the French Open, was probably the beginnings of what was to come 20 plus years later. You'd think that was, I had made it, but the truth was, sitting in that locker room, my hand shook, and I had anxiety, and I had fear, and I didn't know where that was coming from. For the first time in our lives as a family, everything we had worked so hard for and sacrificed for had came true. My outsides, we were the best in the world in that moment, but my insides were really scared and nervous. And that led to substance misuse and self-medication. First it was alcohol, and then it turned to drugs. And in 1999, while playing the US Open in New York, I found myself at a jumping off point. My brain had thought that jumping out of a window of a hotel room in New York City was a good idea. And instead of a hotel manager calling the police, 3 weeks later in Los Angeles at a hotel, he luckily called an interventionist. And, he said I had, at best, maybe a day of life left in me if I kept going. And I got in his car the next day after a night of sleep, and I went through a psych ward and a detox, and spent a year in sober living. And this is while I was top 10 in the world. I had so much fear of being found out. I had so much fear of hurting those around me that supported me, that my decisions and my substance use disorder at this, now it had become a disorder. And I really didn't have any hope, and I really felt unlovable. I'll never forget what a tech said in that detox. He says, his name was John Robinson. He said, Murphy, if no one's told you they love you today, I do. If nobody's told you they love you today, I do. I'll never be able to repay that man for that service that he gave me in that moment. And so I'm in long-term recovery from substance use disorder. And yeah, you know, it's impossible not to get feel the feelings when sharing my truth. And it's those feelings don't come from a place of shame and guilt and remorse. My heart has been healed, and you know, what I thought was the worst thing that could have happened to me turned out to be the biggest gift of my life, because my story and my recovery serves as a way out. You know, that substance misuse, way before it becomes a diagnosis or a disorder, is treatable and preventable. And 8 years ago, while applying one of the principles of my life, which is being helpful and useful and of service to other people, my mother-in-law asked me if I would take a family friend who was he himself was in an outpatient program for substance use disorder. And she asked if I'd take him to a support group meeting. And he liked my tan. He goes, where did you get that tan? And I said, well, I was at Richard Branson's Island. And I said, sure, I'll take this. He said, a girl in my outpatient program was there when you were there. And she built out system engineering teams for companies like Microsoft. And she's really, really smart. And he said, you should meet this girl. And so I met this girl, and she shared with me this idea she had that we could leverage these phones and leverage technology to help those with services and support through our phone in an anonymous, confidential way. So I co-founded with her WEconnect, and WEconnect Health Management. And since then, we're reaching 500,000 people. Almost 500,000 people have attended our in-app support group meetings. Now we're serving employers, workers' comp organizations. We're serving everybody. These mental health and substance misuse or substance use disorder affects everybody. You know, it might not be you, but it might be your loved one. It might be your best friend. And what better place to show your employee that you care than by offering a service that helps in case they need it, way before it gets to a jumping off point that I got to. If these services that we have embedded into this mobile application were available when I was on the tennis tour, we may have prevented a lot of unnecessary suffering for myself and for my family and everyone around me, my community, my tennis community. So Company Nurse, powered by Lintelio, and WEconnect have partnered up, and I am absolutely over the moon excited about being able to share the solution that was shared with me in a digital form. You know, what's really key here is that, you know, it's about providing a safe environment to work. And sometimes that safe environment needs a safety net from my thinking, because my thinking preceded my drinking, I might be in a position at work that I'm not qualified for. I might be in a position where I've been tasked to do some work that's way too overwhelming because 5 different managers have asked me to do 5 different things, and I've got a timeline that I can't meet, but I can't tell them that I don't have the time. And so what do we do? Why does anyone self-medicate? Why does anyone just have a casual drink to take the edge off? Which totally makes sense until, there's a cost associated with, there's a difference between the normal drinker and the person that I became, that drank to escape, and I really wasn't comfortable in my skin. And I shared the truth about what happened because I learned that I wasn't alone, that other people were like me too, that there was another way. And, now, come on, 22 years ago in that hotel room to a co-founder of a healthcare tech company, partnered with company nurse Lintelio, serving millions of people, the opportunity to help millions of people, or at least have it there in case I need it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and the story of WeConnect.